Coheed and Cambria, Key Entity Extraction 3, Vic the Butcher. There are abrupt slams and crunches as Vic the Butcher violently tries to force Holly out of Cyrus's body. Cyrus doesn't have a moment to breathe or regain his bearings. He's thrust from the chaos of Holly's possession straight into the horrific, tangled maze of Vic's sinister life. Vic was a tyrannical army lieutenant general whose lack of empathy and disregard for rules made him very successful. Cyrus can see the majority of Vic's conquests in life were based on loopholes, illegal activities and dirty dealings. Yet, because of his power, he's managed to instill fear in so many of those who work beneath him that his orders remain unquestioned. Even as a young recruit, Vic impressed higher-ups, returning from more than one mission as the last man standing, painting himself as stealthy and brave when, in reality, he'd killed the other members of his crew so they would not reveal his torture tactics on the field. Vic had moved up through the ranks and began to brainwash his platoons, tormenting those who questioned any of his decisions. More than one promising young soldier returned from the first off-world military tour with missing limbs, near-fatal burns, and wounds inflicted by the very leader as a form of psychological warfare, and all were too terrified to tell. The later part of his military career, while stationed on a distant foreign planet, Vic found out that a bunch of terrorists were hiding in a nearby camp, amongst a number of innocent people, far outweighing that of the enemy. Knowing that it was against standard protocol, he called a promising sergeant major named Sentry into his private quarters to give him a secret order to bomb the building. It did not go over well, with Sentry defying the orders, arguing that protocol required they must attempt to draw the insurgents out to avoid civilian casualties. Vic assured Sentry that he didn't care what the book said, and guaranteed that Sentry would regret his insubordination. Regardless, Sentry refused to murder the innocent, and told Vic he planned to report the illegal order to the field marshal in their platoon. In retaliation that night, Vic, a true megalomaniac and ruthless man, ordered Sentry secretly hung by some of his dirty soldiers in a deserted portion of the barracks as he watched. Cyrus witnesses this, trapped in the aqueous barricade, wondering if this is the time he's meant to act in order to get himself out of Vic's retrospective maze. Surely someone will intervene, rather than let this innocent man be hung for his refusal to partake in this murder. This has to be the moment that Vic is at his most evil, the time he is truly a butcher. Cyrus watches as Sentry's body twists and turns, with the life pouring out of him, and no one does anything to stop it. Cyrus panics as he looks around for a weapon to try and kill Vic, noticing a gun in the waistband of one of the accompanying soldiers. He grabs for it repeatedly, but the gun is intangible and his fingers cannot seem to grasp it. It's as if the weapon is some kind of hologram, something he can't physically touch. Cyrus is terrified. How will he be able to remove himself from this possession if he can't pinpoint the right moment? The maze shapeshifts around Cyrus, carrying him forward on a rolling groundswell. After the murder, Vic sent word to Sentry's family that he had committed suicide, citing the intense mental strain of being in the military and expressing his sympathies on behalf of the army. The events jump years later into Vic's life, where he was living domestically in a building 184. A brownstone on the edge of a quiet world with his wife, retired from the military to avoid the spotlight. However, his evils finally caught up with him, and he was extradited and charged for his heinous war crimes and gross misconduct. With a trial by jury ahead, Vic, refusing to go down in shame and face trial, decided to burn down the building he lived in, with both he and his wife inside, as well as hundreds of other residents and a nursery school on the bottom floor. The moment shifts, Back to the event as if it was happening for the first time. Vic standing there in the basement of the building, the smell of gasoline rising up and soaking everything. It becomes clear to Cyrus this is the true epitome of Vic's terrible crimes. Suddenly, Cyrus is Vic, the match flickering in his hands. This, and not the hanging of Sentry, is the moment he has been waiting for. Yet, Cyrus stands conflicted. To remove himself from the possession, he knows he has to set the fire, but this experience is different. There are children involved. Would going through with this connect him in any way to the murder of innocent people? He's nearly lost in Vic's essence, but he can still make out the line of his own morality. Cyrus simply can't set the fire, and extinguishes the flame.
No.
In turn, Cyrus feels the soul of Vic the Butcher raging inside him, evil trapped and spreading into his body. The All-Mother speaks to the unconscious Cyrus, inquiring about his well-being. His strength and physiological levels are dropping at an unnatural, alarming rate. She surveys the unit.
Cyrus can't endure anymore, or he will die.